Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Tuesday, March 18th, and we are here trying to help you make better, less bad, maybe just more considered financial decisions. Now, we have a very sneaky way to do it. It's not very sneaky, but it does require a little work on your part. We ask that you go to our website, jillonmoney.com. And on that website, upper right-hand corner, there is a Contact Us button. And when you push that button, a form pops up. That is the email that we receive. And if you are shy, you don't think you'll be on the show with us, then give us a lot of detail. If you are really planning to come on the show, you can go a little bit lighter on the detail. Then we'll drag it out of you. Again, jillonmoney.com. That's the website. Contact Us button. Shoot us a note. Okay, we are talking to Patrick, who joins us from New Jersey. How is life in the Garden State, Patrick?
Always beautiful here in the Garden State, Jill.
Oh,
great to join you and Mark.
Well, we are happy to have you. What brings you to us?
So I kind of wanted to do a check-in. My wife and I are putting money away. We feel like we're putting a fair amount of money away, but we also feel like we started a little bit late. We both started in government and didn't have a bunch of money that was disposable or that we could invest. So we feel like we're playing catch up a little bit. We don't have these huge sums that some people call in with. And we kind of wanted to make sure that we are doing all that we can do.
Okay. Are you guys still both in government or are you in private sector now?
We're both in private sector now. We did leave government with pensions, which I know you love. Love. So we have that, to sort of get us started. But now we are both, I should say, I'm sorry, I'm private. My wife is in government, but leaving. So
okay,
we're both going to be private soon. And we want to make sure that in that private space that we are investing our monies as we should.
Sounds good. Patrick, how old are you?
I am 50.
Okay. And your wife?
48.
Do you guys have kids?
3 kids. Our oldest is 14. Then we have an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old.
Okay, got it. And right now, what do you earn income-wise?
I earn about $270 base. I make about another $50 in a fairly stable bonus each year. Mm-hmm. And then there's restricted stock units that I get each year, which do vary, but it's somewhere between 30 and 50,000, and those sort of vest over a 3-year period.
Okay, 3-year vest. Got it. Okay. Your wife is still in the government, but she's leaving. So does that mean she has a new job already, or are we going to have a pause? What's going to happen for her?
I think remains to be seen. As you may have heard, things are a little bit crazy in the government right now.
You know what? I did hear that. I've heard that on the news. Okay. But did she lose her job, or is she still employed at this moment?
She is still employed. She works for the Department of Education, which is sort of making news as we speak.
Yes.
So she doesn't anticipate being let go anytime soon, but I don't know what that means in this environment. Mm-hmm. So she's making plans to sort of transition on her own terms. So she's looking right now.
Okay. So how much does she earn right now?
Right now she's making $180,000.
Okay. And when you left the government, did you have enough? So you had enough vested time in the system. What would your pension payout look like?
I'd run it on a calculator they provide. I think we would each be entitled to a pension of about $3,000 a month. So $6,000 total for the two of us. Let me
tell you something. I don't care how late a start you got. That's huge.
That's $2 million.
$2 million. You didn't save $2 million? Yes, you did. You worked in the government. You did. I'm serious. I mean, I have to emphasize that to people that oftentimes when you work in a job, whether you're a teacher, working in a system, or you're working in a municipality or the federal government, all that time that you're putting in that you sort of like, oh, I'm not putting enough away, but you are entitled to that pension, and that is real money to you. So that is great. And Patrick, when would that kick in? At what age? That $3,000 a month each?
57. So we can start collecting at age 57. And actually, we don't have a choice. It just kicks in and we start receiving checks. There's no benefit to waiting.
Okay, got it. Right now, with your new career, how much money are you putting away into your retirement account?
So I am putting in 8% into my 401k pre-tax. There's an employer match of 6% on that.
Hmm.
I recently
Wait, I'm
started.
sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
Is it 1 for 1 or is it 50 cents on the dollar up to 6%?
I'm sorry. It's 100% on the first four, and it's 50% on the next four. So,
Okay, got you. I got it. Perfect. So you're using the match to the best of your ability by doing 8% pre-tax.
correct.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Okay. How much money's in there right now, Patrick?
I have about a 247,000 the last time I checked. I'm also putting 5% in a Roth 401k that I have available to me. So of that 247, 10% is in Roth. I just started doing that, so it's not a whole
Great.
lot of money yet. And then my employer offers a defined contribution pension. So on top of the match, they put in another 6% of my income into the 401k.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Ooh.
nice.
All right. So stick around this place for a little while.
It's a good place to work.
My gosh. Okay. Now, what about your old retirement plan? You worked for the federal government. Do you have a thrift savings plan?
I worked for local,
Okay.
so where we're getting the pension from that role, I did have I guess it was a 457
Mm-hmm.
account, which
Mm-hmm.
I just left. I didn't do anything with when I left. In that, there's 167,000.
Now, what about your wife? What is she? What about her retirement in terms of contributions and the amount she has saved?
So she's in the thrift. So right, so she's federal. So she's
Yep.
in the TSP. She's currently contributing 12% of her salary,
Mm-hmm.
and the federal government matches up to six. So she does 12, and they match with six. Her balance the last time she looked was 118,000 in traditional pre,
Mm-hmm.
and then she has 15,000 additional in Roth. She just started doing the Roth as well.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. This is great. So far, this story is very impressive, I have to
Oh,
say. So,
um,
what about any other retirement accounts that we should know about?
nothing else retirement. We have a brokerage and an
Mhm.
HSA. I opened the HSA after I started listening to you guys.
Okay.
So the brokerage we have $20,000 in currently. I'm putting in about 250 a month, so not a lot, but trying to put in a little bit each month.
That's good.
So the HSA, we're putting in the max, which I think is 700 a month to get us to the 8,500
Hmm.
each year.
And any money saved for the kiddos, for education, anything like that?
Yeah, which is one of the questions we had. We're putting money into the 529. So right now, for all three kids, we have 245,000.
Yowza.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a lot of money, but when you look at these tuitions, it doesn't seem like a lot of money.
True. True. Good point.
But we continue to plow money into it. I think we're putting, when I first wrote to you, I think I put 2,700 a month, but I think I undershot that a little bit. I think we're putting about 3,800 a month into those 529s.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
Wow. Amazing.
it feels like a lot.
I'm sure. So, I mean, well, you're saving a lot of money, which is incredible. Do you have money in sort of a safe, boring checking, savings, money market, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we moved money into high yield. We had sold a house. We only own one house. I'm not one of these real estate folks, but when we sold our old house, we took some of the equity and just put it into savings. So
Hmm.
we have about $135,000 in cash, of which 75,000 is sort of in an emergency fund,
Okay.
and that's just in a online high yield savings account.
Terrific. Your home is worth how much money?
I would say just shy of 1.1 million. We live in one of these crazy real estate, areas of the country. So I think
Sure.
the last time I looked on Zillow, they were
Hmm.
saying 1.1.
And what about the outstanding mortgage amount?
The bank owns most of it. I think we have 700,000 remaining on a 30-year fixed. The interest rate, because we bought only the last couple of years, is 6.625,
Okay.
which pains me even to say, but that's what
Hold
we're
on a
paying in
second. Let's have
interest.
a moment. Mark, do you want to have a little like like meeting of the minds and have
I
a
mean,
little bit of a raise your glass every time you say something over the 6% mark?
yes, but it's better than the 15% that we saw in the 80s, right?
Yeah, well, there
True.
you go. Mark likes to look to history quite often, so this is good. So,
True.
Patrick, you guys seem to be in excellent shape. I just want to do a few other odds and ends. Have
Yes.
you guys do you have life insurance?
We do have life insurance. I have about 1.5 million, and my wife has a million.
And this is term, right?
Term,
Okay,
yes.
great. What about your estate documents?
I sent them in. I do have legal services through work. So
Oh, great.
before writing you, we made sure that we had sent those in. We're just waiting for the executed docs to come back from the law firm.
Fantastic. RSUs, do you sell on that when things are vesting? Do you sell immediately or not?
No, I mean, I will say, I think my first year of getting RSUs comes up in about 4 months.
Hmm.
My intention is to just take the stock. I get to choose whether I want cash value or stock. My plan is just to take the stock because the stock is fairly well performing. It pays a decent dividend and kind of just build up that pool.
Yeah.
And then maybe later on look to diversify because I know you don't want me having too much money in my own company stock.
So what's going to come up that will vest in this first tranche?
It'll be about $25,000 worth of stock.
So, ready for the magic question that is always the hard one? How much money do you guys spend?
We spend a lot of money right now, which I would like to blame on the kids.
Okay,
But
fine.
okay, so,
They're not here to defend themselves.
but I would say all in with the mortgage and the savings we're doing.
No, not savings. It's just
Okay.
spending.
So just spending, but including mortgage.
Yeah, of course.
I would say without the savings, we're at like 16,000 a month.
Okay. Well, good news for you. I got 6 grand covered already, which is
Yeah.
fantastic. But that's not really going to go down, even as your kids age. You got kids for a while, and how long are you going to work? What do you think?
That was a question I had for you. I
Really?
mean,
Like, you want me to give you the exact date?
exactly
Okay.
month year.
Okay. Are we paying for 100% of 3 private university educations?
We would like to pay for 100% of a public university education.
Okay.
And if the kid decides to go private because that's their dream, they're going to have some skin in the game, I think. And
So if I have to send these kids to Rutgers, like my 14-year-old is going to go to Rutgers right now. What is that? 30 grand a year? 40 grand a year? What is it?
yeah, I
don't
think
know
it's
this
somewhere
money.
between 30 and 40. That's what we'd get the in-state
Okay.
rate.
Which is so horrifying to imagine that it's 40 grand and you're in state. So the money that you have in the 529 right this second, at least for, the 14-year-old, we can cover that. We're halfway with the 11-year-old and we got a ways to go for the 9-year-old. So we can, push around the money however you want because you can shift between or among siblings, right?
Right.
So how is your cash flow right now? Like when you take this on, and now I'm including your actual saving as well. So how are you feeling?
Well, I mean, we have enough to cover everything each month. Sometimes if something comes up or we do a home improvement, we're kind of dipping into the money that we have set aside for that purpose. And then there are some months where we have some left over and we put it into, the reverse. We put it into one of those accounts for rainy day or for a home improvement. So right now we're good.
Okay.
We're not, and we do things like we take vacations and we go out to dinner. So I feel like we're okay. I just, when I listen to the show and I hear what other people are doing, they're doing a Roth or they're thinking of IRAs. I just wonder, are we doing enough or are there other things we should be doing?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think you've done a great job. I know that you say late or this or that. I think you really have done a very, very good job. You got about, I'm not looking at the HSA. I'm not even looking at the high yield savings, but you got about 550 grand that's saved by my quick calculation, and not including your 529. Now, obviously, if you didn't want to push so much money into your 529, you could be pushing that money into your brokerage account, right? When you think about retirement, you got a 9-year-old. You're not retiring before this 9-year-old gets through college. Is that fair enough?
Fair enough. Yeah.
Okay, right. So that's silly, right? So we got 12 years. So 62. how about 62? Does that strike you as a decent age?
I would love to do 62. When
Yeah.
I've been running the calculators, I've been using 65 just because.
Let's see 62 because I have a
62 is a
magic.
slam dunk.
Oh my God, Mark was doing
All
it as I
right.
speak. Okay. So Mark, why don't you explain how that is you came up with that? So we have 550 that they've saved already. We have and again, this presumes, Patrick, you stay at this job. You're using his pre-tax contribution, and then you're also putting in their match and their defined contribution pension. Is that what did you add that all in, Mark?
Yeah, I have them saving, I mean, ballpark 100,000 a year combined.
Okay. So 100 grand a year, and not even like, listen, for all we know, your wife sticks around. Maybe she doesn't, but we're just going to freeze her pension at this place. So at 100 grand a year on top of the 550 they've saved, Mark, where does that get them in 12 years?
That's going to be about $3 million, give or take.
Okay. And so that's 3 million right there. We're not even shifting any of the money away from the 529 at that. In other words, we have you putting that 3,800 into the 529, but then once you have those couple kids that are already, a little bit older, especially the 14-year-old, we don't even have you shifting that money anywhere else. We just have that like sort of extra money that's floating around. Let's call that our inflation. So $3 million. And then Mark, what are you presuming happens at age 62?
And by the way, that's a conservative assumption, $3
Because
million.
he's been around me too long, because I would be like,
I mean, they're gonna have the pension. They obviously will have $3 million to draw on. And then, when they get to 70 or 67, 70, they have Social Security, and both of those numbers are pretty large.
Yeah. Have you looked at your Social Security at all, Patrick?
I did. So I ran mine at 70 because our plan was for me to wait till 70. The current estimate is $4,440 a month. And my wife, we ran hers at 67, and hers is estimated at $3,700 a month.
What's kind of great is that you have 16, we have the pension, which would, again, we're doing it in today's dollars. Okay. So let's just say you've got, of the 16 that you spend today, you have 6 grand of that's taken up from the pension. You've got money from your portfolio that can spit out, some amount of money, 100 something or other, 100, whatever. We'll have a lot of money that, let's say, $90,000 to $100,000 a year. And then, you wait 8 years and, 5 and 8 years and you're going to have Social Security. So it looks to me like 62 is completely doable. And clearly, having those 2 pensions is a big deal. The other thing I just want to encourage you to do, when those RSUs come up and you want to take the stock, I want you to sell it. I want you to, if you want it, I would take the cash, or if you want, you can take it the first time around. But I want you to get disciplined about selling those RSUs on an ongoing basis. 2 things that does. First of all, it can really help you with your 529 right now. Okay. You have the money, you can pop the money in there, you're done. Okay. But the other reason I like to be disciplined about it is if the company looks good now, great, then your job is safe. If the company rolls over, then your RSUs disappear and become less valuable. And then maybe your job is at risk. So if you want to do it like one time, fine. And maybe your 25 grand will turn into 50 grand in a year or 2. But I think you should adopt a more conservative approach, which would be taking those RSUs when they come up and available, sell it out. I've been through this with many, many of our listeners, some of whom work at the very famous companies that have gone up in value. And I just still think to have some semblance of a strategy of just being disciplined is really good for you.
Okay.
That's just me. Mark, have I missed anything?
The only other thing I would say, I was just reading the email, they're kind of like 90-10 allocation.
Yeah, because he's a player.
So, at this stage of the game, I would probably peel it back a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. There's not a huge difference performance-wise being 80-20, 70-30. It just isn't.
Not on the upside, but it helps on the downside.
It does, right? And so you don't get a huge bump up on the upside. So I would absolutely consider that. Okay. You can take that for what it's worth. We're wimpy. Okay. But you'll have a lot of money. This is good. It's a great, great plan Patrick, you're a delight.
I
You know what?
appreciate it.
I think you guys are in great shape. So, hey, gang, if you are like Patrick and his wife, like, you live in a high cost of living area. By the way, it does strike me that, somebody who's living in a high cost of living state like New Jersey or Connecticut or New York or California, especially in one of these burbs where you've got really good schools, right? You make 400 or 500 grand. You feel like you're the working rich, like the other dingbats in your neighborhood who are working on Wall Street are making a lot more money, and you compare yourself. Don't worry. If you feel like you're struggling a little bit, or you feel like you just need another set of eyes and ears on your situation, get in touch with us. Go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us that note. And if you'd like to come on the air, check the box. Mark will do everything else. Don't forget that you can subscribe to us on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your favorite podcast. And if you need more Jill and Mark, then you should also subscribe to our Money Watch podcast, because then you get us on Saturdays and Sundays. And as Patrick said, he needed that. He needed the 7-day-a-week Jill fix, and I'm glad we could give it to him. So please do check that out. Okay, and lift someone up. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.